What happened to John Mayall? John Mayall, born in 1933, developed a passion for American blues early in life. He was inspired by blues legends like Leadbelly and boogie woogie players. He taught himself to play multiple instruments through them. After serving in Korea, he pursued music full-time, forming the Blues Breakers and gaining recognition in London's blues scene. With members like Eric Clapton and Peter Green, the band saw success, but lineup changes were frequent. Mayall's innovative approach to blues, showcased in albums like The Blues Alone and Bare Wires, earned him acclaim. Eventually, he relocated to Los Angeles, marking a new chapter in his career. 1969's best-selling The Turning Point was recorded live at Bill Graham's Fillmore East for Polydor, with a new band and concept. The drummerless group featured Mayall on vocals, harmonica, and occasional electric guitar. John Mark was on acoustic guitar, Steve Thompson on bass, and Johnny Almond on reeds and woodwind. It peaked at number 11 in the UK and number 41 in the US, but was eventually certified gold thanks to the single Room to Move. The same group cut the studio outing Empty Rooms a couple of months later. In 1971, Mayall released the double-length Back to the Roots. Recording sessions took place in California and London. Mayall invited former members of the Blues Breakers, notably guitarist Eric Clapton and Mick Taylor. Canned Heat bassist Larry Taylor would join Mayall as one of three American musicians, along with former Canned Heat guitarist and electric guitarist Harvey Mandel and electric violin player Sugarcane Harris. This lineup would record the 1970s USA Union. In 1971, he issued the trio outing Memories with guitarist Jerry McGee and bassist Taylor. 1972's Jazz Blues Fusion moved further afield. It featured Mayall in the company of trumpet player Blue Mitchell, saxophonist Clifford Solomon, guitarist Freddie Robinson, and bassist Larry Taylor. That group, appended by drummer Keith Hartley and saxophonist Fred Jackson, Ernie Watts, and Charles Owens, released Moving On later that year. Mayall continued to explore the connections between jazz and blues on the double-length 10 Years Are Gone in late 1973, with a septet that included those musicians, saxophonist Red Holloway, and bassist Victor Gaskin. Mayall was on a roll. He released the latest edition in 1974, which was produced by Tom Wilson, with only Holloway returning from the previous outing. The rest of the lineup included Larry Taylor, drummer Selco Richardson, and guitarist Randy Resnick and High Tide Harris. 1975's New Year, New Band, New Company marked Mayall's debut for ABC/Blue Thumb. Harris, Richardson, and Taylor returned alongside electric pianist Jay Spell, guitarist Rick Vito, and vocalist Dee McKinney. Peaking at number 140 on the Top 200, it was the leader's last charting album until 1990. The lack of commercial distinction didn't remotely reflect the quality of the music on offer, only the changing tastes of the record-buying public. Later that year, Mayall brought the band to New Orleans to work with producer and keyboardist Alan Toussaint. He appended the lineup with Bayou Maharaja, James Booker on organ, a Crescent City horn section, and additional players. At the end of 1975, Mayall returned to Los Angeles and cut a series of genre-expanding sessions that were released as a Banquet in Blues the following year. Mayall produced the wildly eclectic Revolving Door set that translated blues through jazz and funk and featured jazz luminaries such as drummer Ron McCurdy, bassist Larry Gales, Mitchell, John McVie, and Mayall's Fine Road Band. In the late 70s and the entirety of the 80s, John Mayall maintained his popularity as a live performer in America, touring extensively and releasing albums that, though initially received lukewarm reviews, were later recognized as innovative. His collaborations with various musicians showcase his forward-thinking approach to blues. In the 1990s, Mayall signed with RCA Silvertone Imprint, releasing acclaimed albums like Wake Up Call and Spinning Coin. Despite commercial success eluding some of his releases, Mayall continued to tour internationally and collaborate with renowned artists. He closed the decade with Padlock on the Blues, showcasing his enduring influence and creativity in the blues genre. In 2001, Eagle released the star-studded Along for the Ride, credited to John Mayall and Friends. The set featured his regular band with appearances from guests including Billy Gibbons, Steve Miller, Steve Cropper, Otis Rush, former Blues Breakers Fleetwood, Taylor, and Dick Hextall Smith, to mention a few. It charted across Europe and in the UK and placed at number 4 on the top 200 in the US for the blues and spent 18 weeks on the chart. The following year, the Blues Breakers issued Stories. Woodington and Ewell remained in the group and were joined by Hank Van Sickle on bass and Tom Canning on keyboards. It topped the blues albums charts in the US and made the top 200. Produced by David Z., it featured originals and tunes from friends including Buddy and Julie Miller. In 2003, Eagle issued the film and recording package 70th Birthday Concert. It featured another all-star guest lineup that included Clapton, Mick Taylor, trumpet player Henry Lothar, and trombonist Chris Barber. It too reached number 8 on the US Top 200. In 2005, Mayall was appointed an OBE by Queen Elizabeth II. 2005's Road Dogs was the last to feature Canning in the lineup, co-produced by the entire band, and it hit number 4 and remains one of Mayall's rawest albums. 2007's Palace of the King was completely devoted to songs that Freddie King wrote, inspired, or was closely associated with. In addition to the Blues Breakers, guitarist Robin Ford lent a hand on his composition Cannonball Shuffle, and the set went to number 3 on the Blues Albums chart. At the end of 2008, Mayall announced that he was disbanding the Blues Breakers again to reduce his workload. But with that said, he wasted no time forming a new band that included guitarist Rocky Athis, bassist Greg Erzib, and drummer Jay Davenport, with Canning assisting on organ, and they undertook a world tour. In September, that lineup recorded Tough, Mayall's final outing for Eagle, and at that time he was 75 years old. He continued to tour and record well into his 80s, and in 2014, he released A Special Life, his debut recording for 40 Below. It peaked at number 3 on the Blues Albums list in the US. Recorded at Entourage Studios in North Hollywood, it featured singer and accordion player C.J. Chenier in a guest role. Mayall followed a year later with Find a Way to Care, which was a set that showcased his underrated and innovative keyboard playing on a set of originals and vintage covers, including Percy Mayfield's The River's Invitation. The set charted in 4 European countries and reached number 5 in the US blues charts. The outing's popularity cemented Mayall's induction into the Blues Hall of Fame in 2016. Talk about that, his third top 5 outing for 40 Below arrived in late 2017. This was a much funkier affair with a horn section that also charted across Europe. In 2018, at age 85, Mayall contracted pneumonia and had to cancel a US tour. That summer, though, sufficiently recovered, he entered the recording studio and emerged with the full-length Nobody Told Me in 2019. Its first single, Distant Lonesome Train, was co-written with Joe Bonamassa, who also played guitar on it, and another track. Other guests included Steve Van Zandt, Todd Rundgren, Alex Lifeson, Larry McRae, and Mayall's new road guitarist Carolyn Wonderland. Mayall embarked on a world tour after the album's release, and the album went all the way to number 2 on the blues albums in the US as well as charting in Europe. In the early winter of 2021, the UK Snapper Deluxe label released the Mammoth Limited Edition 35-disc First Generation 1965 to 1974. Produced with Mayall's full cooperation, it included remastered editions of all of Mayall's and the Bluesbreakers recordings between those years, with bonus material including singles, EPs, and 29 previously unissued live and studio tracks, including performances at the BBC. It also included a 12x12 coffee table book featuring rare photos and full-size album cover art, a musical family tree, 2 posters, replicas of early fan club newsletters, and a lengthy, comprehensive liner essay by Neil Slavin. In October, a month before his 88th birthday, Mayall announced it was time to hang up his road shoes and retire from touring. In that same announcement, though, he stated that he had just completed The Sun is Shining Down, which was produced by Eric Korn of Sugar Ray Rayford. The set featured his long-standing quartet with Carolyn Wonderland on lead guitar, accompanying a star-studded guest list that included Melvin Taylor, Buddy Miller, Mike Campbell, Carolyn Wonderland, and Marcus King. And as of the recording of this video in April 2024, John is still alive and well, and he is 90 years old. And that's what happened to John Mayall. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Give me some facts about John Mayall that I may have failed to mention, and let me know who I should do next. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video.